when I was learning pleats, it had taken me 3-4 days to figure pleats out. Just the pleats. What I have done is I am going to compress that understanding of pleats, and I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that you will remember. It will be easy to do, and you will understand how to go about it. There are three types of pleats we'll be learning today. One is a box pleat, second one is a knife pleat, and third one is an accordion pleat. So accordion pleat essentially looks like this. So these are the accordion pleats, these are the box pleats, and these are the knife pleats. These are two types of knife pleats that I've done. One is a little bit ironed and pressed, and the other one is a little bit free on the bottom, right? And then I have made a skirt with knife pleats, right? So what we'll try to do today is we'll try to learn how to get all these three types of pleats and also make it into garments. Yeah, so this is our major agenda for the day. If after this time permits, I will tell you during this time only. Sometime I'll tell you how to use another type of sewing tool. Right now you have been doing segment sewing tool, and we learned M to N sewing tool yesterday. Today there will be a third type of sewing tool called as free sewing tool. This probably is a good time to get started with that as well. So if time permits, we will do that. If and then these two things, free sewing tool and arrangement points, this is something that I'll tell you through the class itself today. If we are able to successfully do pleats today, our class will be awesome. All right, so let's get on with it. For this, I will start with a absolutely new project. Okay, so starting with pleats, what we did yesterday was we took a rectangle and we gave a particular measurement to the rectangle for the waistband, which was, we were specifically keeping it 30 inches and 2 inches, right, for the waistband. 30 is very specific. I want you all to keep 30 or something which is multiples of 3. The second part for the pleat part is going to be 90 inches for me, and this one length I can keep whatever I want to. So the reason being, I specifically said that I want 30 is to 90 is because the waistband is one portion and the pleats are going to be 3 portions. This is how exactly I would want it to go ahead. 1 is to 3 means 30 is to 90. Okay. After we did this, we had to select both the segments, and then we were supposed to distribute internal lines between segments. I want to divide this whole big pattern into 30 parts. So I will give 29 lines in between. Once you see there are 29 lines are given, number of offsets are 29s, mean 29 lines. If I give one offset, which means it will give one dividing line. If I give 3 offsets, it will give 3 dividing lines. That way, if I want to make 30, I'll give 29 segments. Okay, each one will come out to be 3 inches because it was 30 by 90, right? That's done. Once this is done, right now what we see is these lines are not making a point on the pattern outline. This is the pattern outline and this is the internal lines. These internal lines are supposed to make a point here. Even if they are touching the pattern, they're not making a point. How to make it into a point? Yeah, I will select all of these. Right click and extend, trim and add point to pattern outline. As soon as I do that, I should be able to see that the point has been added. The point is very important because for pleat sewing, we need different segments. Each thing has to be a different segment. If before making the point, if we were doing it, if I select it, right now it's a whole single segment. We don't need a single segment. What we need is this becoming points, yeah, in order to be able to sew pleats. Now one more thing to notice here is that all of these lines are a particular color. They're all red, they're all dark, okay? That's because when you click on the line and you go to the property editor, you will see a fold angle. This fold angle is 180 degree. What is 180 degree? 180 degree is a straight line. Means there is no fold here. It is a 180 degree line. We can make it into a fold. To show you how to make it into a fold, or to show you how the fold works in the first place, let me strengthen this. There is something called as strengthen and there's something called as solidify. Okay. Let's say I select one particular internal line. Okay, this one. And I change the angle here. We will simulate to see that the angle is made here, right? If we select alternate lines, and let's say we give angle of 360 degree, and so the line color changes. Now we select the other alternate lines and we give the angles of 0 degrees, right? And now when I simulate, you will see that the pattern has folded. Yes? So this is why the lines are important. We'll go back. I will do this is just to explain to you what are the red lines and the blue lines mean. When we change the angles, the line color changes. This is a theoretical concept. It is important for you to understand, just to get an idea of how these folds and lines work. Yeah. Now what is going to happen here is, when I select the pleats fold tool, we'll go to the 2D window and we will select the pleats fold tool. Here I can click on one segment and you will see there is an arrow. The arrow means which direction do we want the fold to happen. Knife pleats are folded either on one side or on the other side. This will determine which direction the folds are going, right? Once I double click on it, it will ask me which pleats do I want. Knife pleats and accordion pleats require 2 lines per pleat, and box pleat will require 3 lines per pleat. So right now I'll be making knife pleats, okay? So if I click on knife pleats and if I do 2 and I do OK, you will see that automatically the color of all of these alternate lines have changed. Means once I do pleats folding and I choose knife pleats, it will automatically tell the pattern that one line has to be folded in one direction, the other line has to be folded in another direction. That just makes the pleats faster. Once I have decided the pleats and I have done this, then I will go to pleat sewing. For that, I'll click from one end to the other for the belt, and as soon as I go ahead and I stitch this, it will automatically choose segments the way the pleats are supposed to be stitched. Okay. Once I reach the end, please don't go to the bottom, otherwise it is sewing the entire round of this pattern. Okay, we don't want to stitch that. What we want to do is we just want it to end here, right? Once we do this, you will see in the 3D pattern that the sewing is done like how the sewing is supposed to be done for the pleats. Now I will have to freeze the waistband for it to hang in the air. If I unfreeze it and I simulate, all of it will fall down, right? I don't want that. So what I will do is I will just freeze it, and now when I simulate, you see the pleats are made. Sometimes the pleats fold itself like box pleats. That is because of simulation, and there are so many stitches, the pattern gets confused which side to align itself. So sometimes this can happen somewhere. That, see, most pleats have come out as knife pleats, but sometimes this happens. This is not a problem. What we need to do is we just need to stretch, adjust here and there. What I do generally is I go to the inside pattern and I pull it out from the front, and once I make a few adjustments, it kind of adjusts itself. Yeah, I'll have to pull it because it does work like fabric in real life. Fabric in cloth simulates like fabric in real life. So sometimes it is, oh, it might just get confused, and it will stitch one part to the other. So now this has gotten proper and this has become. So we are going to have to just keep pulling it and keep adjusting it for it to come to all looking like knife pleats. Yeah, the last one. Yeah, it's pretty much gotten aligned like how knife pleat should be. Yeah, so this is what we are going to do right now to begin with. Make one pattern of 30, make another pattern of 90 inches, then go to then you have to select both of these sides, and then you have to make segments in between. Then after making segments, you select the pleats fold. You can click on one side, double click on the other, this will come. Select knife pleat, select two, do OK. Then you can go to the pleat sewing and then sew the waist belt to the pleats, and it should be that easy. Yeah. Okay, I would like to give you all one small quick lesson on another topic here. It is very relevant to this point, is why I am just telling you right now. It is called particle distance. Particle distance is something, everybody pause everything that you're doing and take a look at what I am telling you. This is a lesson that applies to all fabrics at all times. Okay, you all notice that my pattern are looking not so clean here on the folds. So it's supposed to look very clean on the folds and all, but it is not looking right. What is this happening here, right? We can fix it. When you see nice cloth 3D images and all, you don't see things like that. This can be fixed. It is done using something called as particle distance. When you go to the fabric segment and you show wireframe, okay, for the fabric, this is a fabric section, and you go to the wireframe, you will see that all of these patterns are made out of these triangles, right? All of these triangles are kind of joining together, folding here and then making these folds. So let me show you. This is how it looks in wireframe. This is how it looks in real, right? So coming back to wireframe, the reason why it's showing a little bit jagged and untidy here is because these triangles are kind of doing its thing. Okay, we can reduce the triangles by going to something called as particle distance of the fabric. You click on fabric, you go to particle distance. Don't do that, don't do all of that right now. I'll tell you how to go about it. You can click on the fabric, you go to particle distance, and once you change it to 5, okay, it takes a while, but you will see that the triangles have reduced, which means now in the same place when there were 20 particles, now there are 5 particles, right? And this kind of leads to the garment looking more smoother, more better. What we have done is we have reduced the distance between the grains, or there are some, let's say there are some units, we have reduced the distance between the units for it to look much better. But the problem with this particle distance 5 is, while it makes the fabric looks better, which I will show you now, see, now the garment is suddenly smooth. Why? Because I have reduced particle distance to 5. While this makes the fabric looks better, this significantly slows down your computer, which means now your application has to work like so much more to count all those triangles and put it in place. If it were let's say 20 is what it keeps by default, okay. Let's say if I go back to 20, look, the particle increases. I can even do even further. I can go to 30 and the particles even increases. I can go to 40 and the particles will even increase further, but that will just not make my garment look good. So now when there's 40, when the triangles are too big, you realize, see, you can see proper triangles. You have to understand that the fabric in cloth is made out of triangles. These triangles are what is called as particle distance. Let me reduce it. So cloth keeps it 20 because 20 works. 20 looks just good enough and keeps the application just fast enough. If you reduce it from 20, if you make it to 5, 10, then it slows down the computer. And mine is the system with graphics card and everything, and yet it slows down. If you all have laptops, then gone only. Like, it is not going to be able to, process it at all. I'm just telling you this because it's good to have information. See, for the folds particularly, we need small particle distance. But what if we keep 20, 30, 40 particle distance for the waistband? Waistband is a flat line, right? So even 40 particle distance in waistband won't create a difference, because if I simulate it and if I remove it, it will continue looking flat, right? For flatter and for straight patterns which are having squares and sharp lines, particle distance higher is fine. But when there is a lot of folds and when there is a lot of curves and all happen, the pattern keeps getting smaller. For example, collars and all will require smaller particle distance, while sleeves can do with 20 particle distance. Yes. So this is a theoretical topic that I wanted to take with you all at some point of time. I think you all are enough mature into learning it for you to understand it, right? So, which is why right now continue working with 20. If your computer is slow, you can make it 30 also, just to help you, okay? But when you're trying to make like a rendered image of it, you should make it to 5, let it render, and then take a picture of it. Cool. Now go back to, I'm done with the topic of particle distance. You can go back to making the skirts. So I've just made a circle. And then I'll take an internal ellipse also, and I'll make a circle in the center for the waist. I'll cut this out and remove this, yeah, as usual. Here we will be distributing internal lines between this and this, okay? Between the outside circle. Initially, for the previous pattern, we were distributing internal lines between one end and the other end of the rectangle. For this one, since our pleats are going to be radiating outwards from the center, we will have to distribute internal lines from the center like this. Okay, so that way we will be distributing internal lines. I can draw one also, but it is practically not possible for me to draw so many lines and be precise that I will be making correct difference between all the lines. Okay, so what am I going to do is, I still cannot, I will have to cut it from one side. Okay, what I will do is, I will take one internal line, I will cut from this to this. I'll go here and then I will cut and sew. Okay, this has to be cut. Okay, now I'll split it a little aside, and now I will select what we were doing between two lines is what we are going to do here between two lines. This line as well as this line. And then shift and this line. And now we will distribute internal lines between segment. Okay, watch what I'm doing. I have made one internal line and I have cut and split it. Now between these two lines itself, we'll be distributing internal lines, right? So right click on it, distribute internal line between segment. Let's just say I want 100, right? So these many internal lines would come. If I want to make, say, 20 so many pleats, I can do it like this, right? Depends on how many pleats do I want, right? So let me go ahead with 100 for now, a random figure. Okay, so now I have distributed internal lines between these. Now each line will act as a fold of a pleat. I'll go to pleats fold. Now pleats fold generally creates a line like this, right? Now I want to give instruction to the system saying that I want pleats to go all around. So what I can do is, I can click on one side, I can just keep clicking and I can keep traveling, because the instruction to the computer is that it has to be folded in this direction, clockwise. So now I have done a clockwise travel with my pleats fold, and double click on it. I'll select accordion and I'll select 2, and then I'll be okay. Suddenly you see the color of the lines have changed. That means each line has an instruction that this line has this angle and the other line has other angle, right? This is very important for the folding to happen. So pleats fold is done. Once the pleat fold is done, let me make another rectangle for the waistband. I'll make a 15-inch width and say 4-inch, or too much actually, 2.5-inch waistband. Now it's time to sew the pleats. So I'll go and select pleat sewing. I'll go ahead with selecting the waistband the way we do. For this part, I will be selecting it from this corner. Okay, what have I not done here? What have I done wrong here? Can anybody tell me? Why am I not able to select all of these like pleats?
You have to trim.
Yeah, I have to add. Yes, I am pretty sure. Everybody's voice is getting muffled, but I'm pretty sure you all know now, right? So I will select all of these, how much ever I can select in one go. You can't select all of them. Maybe you can. It will be a little tricky to select all of them. Yeah, I can select all of these. Right click on it, extend, trim and add point to pattern outline. Now when I go for the pleat sewing, this one, and then go very carefully, go close and click on one side, go around, bravo, slowly, and end it. Once I'm done with this, let me bring my model into the image, because accordion pleats and circle skirt can be best seen on a model. Add avatar. I've added my yeah. Let me move it aside for the time being. This is a good time for me to show you arrangement points. I did show yesterday also. I'll show again today. Arrangement points is something that helps you fix patterns on the avatar very easily. I'll go to avatar display on the 3D display part, and I'll show arrangement points. This is the waistband, right? If I have my waistband selected and if I go hover over this, let's say if I was making a cuff, and if I take it over a cuff, it will become a cuff, right? We don't want it to become a cuff. We want it to become a waistband. If I did it for collar, it would work for collar also. See? So basically arrangement points help you arrange the pattern the way it's arranged on that part of the body. I'll go and do it for the waist. I've made a little small waistband. Let me increase the size of it. Yeah, and the stitch lines have also gotten just the same way distributed. Yep, I'll stitch both the ends using segment sewing tool. This is a good time for me to show you free sewing tool as well. So just below the segment sewing tool, there is something called as a free sewing tool. It is very simple. Instead of segment sewing, I can drag and drop one side, double click, and then I can drag and drop the other side, double click. This helps you sew segments that are not equal to each other. And once that is done, it will be hard to put, we don't have a particular segment arrangement point for the skirt like this. I have it for a pant, I have it for the bodice, but I don't have it for the skirt like this. So for a skirt like this, you're going to have to use a gizmo tool. Adjust it, bring it closer to the model, however that works. And then simulate. Let's see how it goes. Let me close my arrangement points. A little bit of adjustment here and there should, yep. That's because I've made my thing slightly oval. Yep. Cool. And this is how accordion pleats are made.